What's up, everybody? We are only a few hours away from the launch of Season 1 of Marvel Rivals, and I've put together a simplified tier list of how I see the hero lineup kind of playing out right after the Season 1 patch drops. Now, this is different from other tier lists you may see that try to exactly rate what hero is better than others, and I would argue there are just far too many variables to accurately determine that. There's so many factors involved, including the rank, team comp, map, and player skill. So I've tried to simplify this whole thing into tiers of how often a hero is viable and the range of their viability. For example, is Black Panther an S tier hero? Yeah, sure he is, with the right player against the right team on the right map. Unless you really know your matchups and counters and setups, he can quickly become a huge liability to your team. So picking something that is more commonly viable or more efficient in the way that they play out is usually, especially if you're trying to climb in rank, is usually the smarter play. So with that said, I'll run through this list pretty quickly and try to explain why people are where they are. All right, let's start at the top, okay? Now, there's a lot of usual suspects here. Hela, Hawkeye, Winter Soldier, Namor, Psylocke, Punisher. There's your duelist at the top. If you think about it, these are all consistent damage-dealing characters with good, solid kits that can add value against any kind of team, whether there's a dive team against you, a tanky team, a team with a bunch of duelists, a team with ranged duelists. Doesn't matter. These characters perform well under all circumstances. Most of them are considered longer range, of course. Hawkeye, Hela, Punisher, Namor, longer range. Winter Soldier's mid-range. Psylocke is also mid-range. If you play these duelists, and the hardest out of all these probably to get consistent value is probably Hawkeye. If anything, just shoot tanks, and you're still giving your team extreme value. But if anything, these characters, you can shoot what's in front of you, farm ultimate abilities, and their ultimates are excellent. And that's what puts these characters in this category. They're always good, they have no obvious weakness, and you will always get value out of them. So if you really want to climb, I think Namor especially right now is probably one of the best. But Winter Soldier also just got some significant buffs. The fact that Luna is always on teams practically makes Namor even better. But if you want to climb, play some of these, and you will quickly see that you will do much better, much more often than you will by playing, your Black Panther or your Iron Fist or your Black Widow. Play one of these, and you will have much more consistent games. Okay, so that's the duelist. Now, it's pretty obvious that Mantis and Luna are still just, king of the hill. Basically, they are just there's just too many good things about them, and the nerfs that came to Luna in the patch is basically useless. They're still the best. You can still climb by playing other support characters, but these two are just the best. They're always good in every situation against every team con. If the enemy team has dive, no problem. They have CC to deal with it, self-healing, whatever it is. If the team comp isn't, you want to poke, they both can poke. They can both do an extreme amount of damage on their own. They have AoE, fix-it-all alts. These two are at the top, and they're going to stay there unless they actually get seriously nerfed. As for tanks, remember, again, for Vanguards, we're looking for stability and consistency, right? Magneto, Doctor Strange, no true weaknesses. Against dive, they don't care. They can handle dive. Long range, don't care. Grinding matchups, don't care. They always have value. Their ultimates always have value. These characters are staples. They're the backbone of the team, and they're going to stay that way in Season 1. To sum it up, these characters at the top have no true weakness, and there's no time when you are playing them where you think, oh man, I wish they have this. I need to switch to something else like this. It's never going to happen. They just do well no matter what. You want to dive a Punisher? Well, he can 2-tap you. You want to dive a Winter Soldier now? He's even tankier than before. He has lots of tools to deal with you. There's all these characters have ways to deal with things, and they're just consistent damage dealers. They're consistent in all their roles. These are the top of the top. Now, if we move down to the tier below that, we start to see some cracks. Okay? So Iron Man's great. He's especially better if he has a Hulk with him. But things do counter Iron Man. He can be punished for that. He isn't always good, right? If they have good hit scan characters on their team, Iron Man becomes weaker. If their team is using Magic and Black Panther, Iron Man's much better because now he's safer in the sky, right? Or someone that isn't hit scan, if the enemy team's using Storm, and now your Iron Man is a little bit better because he doesn't have to deal with a Punisher constantly shooting at him, right? All of these characters in this tier are still extremely good, but they're a little bit more situational. You may have to find yourself, I need to swap. Something is countering me. I think Cloak and Dagger, maybe with the new buffs, almost could be moved up to always great. I am a Cloak and Dagger main, and when I play them, I feel like I can solve a lot of problems, but I just don't solve them as easy as Mantis and Luna does. I have to work harder to solve them. Rocket is already a nice solid pick, and nothing really counters Rocket. If you dive him, he's squirrely, he's hard to get away, he's hard to actually lock down and kill. But he suffers from, his ultimate is not a fix-all problem like Mantis or Luna. His res is really good, and his healing is consistent, but it's just not up to the same standard as they are. So Rocket is in this tier because, if anything, you're switching off Rocket to switch to one of these two, sadly, unfortunately. And the same kind of goes for Adam Warlock. He's completely different from Rocket. He can't escape at all. But he offers different benefits, way more damage output than Rocket does. And obviously the AoE res at the right time. You need to be aware of the situation. What is the enemy team playing? And that can be countered as well, right? If they have like a Black Panther again and you're AoE resing and Black Panther he sees where you're going to res and he just kind of camps it and instantly, full combos your whole team again, you look like an idiot. So that's why Adam's down here. Groot's down here because he is countered by many things. His protection does not come as easy as Doctor Strange's. It can die much quicker. It can be they can go around the walls and hit him cleanly. He gets absolutely trimmed by a Hawkeye or Hela, something like that. So I mean, I love Groot. He's my best tank. I think he's so much fun to play, and his ultimate is super fun to use. But again, it's easily countered by Mantis and Luna, so it's not much fun when it comes to that. And he is countered by things, so that's why he's in this tier. He works well with Moon Knight. Okay, that's a popular combo that's coming out. But, having to use an AoE damaging thing with an AoE stun in order to wipe a team doesn't feel as good as, Punisher just mowing the whole team down or something like that. So that's why Groot's here. Hulk, also situational. He can be countered by things, a heavy CC team, a team that really can draw him out. Also, I think things like Mr. Fantastic, who we're about to talk about, is a great counter to dive. Mr. Fantastic is, he's going to be a problem for Hulk. He's going to be annoying for Hulk. Let's put it that way. So we'll kind of see how that all plays out. But Hulk can quite easily always go up to always great. It just kind of depends on a few factors. So he's close. I've actually put Storm up here at great most of the time. It's kind of a bold move. She probably should be middle of the pack. We got to wait and really kind of see how it all plays out. But I think with Storm that we're going to see a lot more of her. I think she is a lot more consistent now with the changes they've made. I still think the character design is pretty boring, but that's a whole different thing. But at least now with the velocity change to her basic attack, she's going to be pretty viable on quite a few different maps. She's going to be getting ults very quickly. She's going to be, utilizing her ult a lot more effectively with the buff to it. We're going to see more Storm. So I actually think most of the time she's going to be a pretty decent character. It's a little bit of a guess to put her here. We'll see how it plays out. Now, as for Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic, I put them up here great most of the time. That's kind of where they're at in my head right now. I've played the characters. I've played them extensively on the test server. They're both really good in their own ways, but until you actually see how it all plays out with the masses and what kind of new meta comes out, you never really know, right? So they're definitely great characters most of the time. They can counter things in all different ways. Mr. Fantastic is a really unique design. I think he's going to be like a super carry for a lot of teams. If people are diving your back line, he can save their ass. He can completely harass the front line. He can never miss an attack for the most part. His biggest weakness is his ultimate, I think. But an Invisible Woman has all kinds of tools, and her healing output is insane when it's all combined together. Her ultimate is fantastic. Fantastic. But yeah, anyway, that's where those two, we'll see how it plays out, but I think they're going to be really, really good. Middle of the pack is an interesting one. These are characters that, yeah, they're good, but they don't always shine, and it depends on a few things. The map and the team makeups being a big one. Captain America, he's getting some buffs, but his damage output is still weak. He really kind of needs that Thor with him. But Thor also is very situational, so they kind of need to work together. Venom has got some new buffs as well, but unless he's got maybe someone else diving with him, I don't feel like he's very effective. If you got a bunch of shooters on your team and then your main tank just swings away and dives into the backline of the enemy team alone, it's not that hard to deal with for most teams, so he's kind of situational. Squirrel Girl I've played a lot of. She is actually insane, and I'm starting to break her. You can absolutely push people from their defensive positions. You can blow people up without them expecting it. She has all kinds of interesting things you can do with her, but I think the player base has been so stuck on playing these other consistent, I just point at you and shoot you characters that Squirrel Girl hasn't had time to shine. But I think with the change to her ultimate, if you don't kill it, I think it can be very dangerous, and you can expect to see me blow some lobbies up with Squirrel Girl. As for the strategists, Loki, Jeff, they're just not as consistent. They both are strong in their own ways. There's nothing wrong with these characters, but I would say they're just not as consistent as the other strategists we've already gone over. For example, if you have a flyer, Loki's value goes down, right? The flyer can't stand in his shift ability. It's harder for him to heal the flyer, right? Same with if you have divers. Can he actually get his attack through to heal them? Can he help them? Not really. It's subjective, right? Same thing goes with Jeff. He wants to be shooting his bubbles, on the ground, and people can pick him up, use them for speed, etc. It doesn't work well with flyers. Doesn't work too well with divers. Just trying to shoot them over enemy teams' heads and stuff doesn't really work, right? So they need specific teams to really excel. They want people to be in front of them, and yeah, that's why they're there. They're still good characters, powerful ultimates. Loki's obviously very flexible. But I don't think they're quite up to snuff with some of these other consistent characters. That's what we're looking for, consistency. And then amazing in the right situation tier. So you'll notice we have pretty much all the melee divers here, and then Penny. Now, these characters thrive if they're given the room to thrive and the right team comps and the right tools. The funny thing is Penny actually counters a lot of these guys with her web and her nest. That's partly why I put Penny here. She's really good against teams like this. She's really much better on when she can play defense or when she can control space. But, Penny on the offense, not nearly as effective. Penny against, Doctor Strange, can't really web him very often with his shield up, but Penny against Thor, for example, is very strong. She can web this guy constantly, make his life miserable. So they're just very subjective. I think they're very strong at certain things that they do, but lots of other times they're not so strong. We've all had the shit Spider-Man on our team that won't swap to something else, even though he's countered by Namor and Psylocke or something, and they're just killing him in the backline, no problem, and he just won't swap. And, that's what I mean about this whole consistency thing. If I'm playing Namor, I love to see an enemy Spider-Man. You just throw down some squids and go in your bubble if he jumps you, and he loses all of his health, and that's it. He accomplished nothing with that dive, right? So, yeah, and Wolverine as well, he's amazing in the right situation. And now, maybe he should be in middle of the pack or up a little bit higher because of the health buff and stuff like that. But he really thrives if the enemy team has tanks that he can punish and really bring you out of position, right? He's all about displacement and chewing through a tank. But when you look at it on paper, Winter Soldier can also do heavy displacement, usually to a tank since they're in the front, and he can do it much safer. He can do it at range, and he has other powerful tools in his arsenal. And if you think about it, Winter Soldier and Wolverine's ultimate are very similar in their execution, except one of them can literally reset his ultimate multiple times and Wolverine can't. So Wolverine just really depends. And then at the very bottom, um, the situational tier. And by situational, I mean very situational. Black Widow, yeah, I mean, there's so many other characters that do similar things to her that can do it from range like she can, and they have better defenses than she does. Even with her just most recent buffs, you have to be like really good at sniping to ever try and pick this character over the other ones. And even then, it's just kind of like a pride pick, right? If you're that good at sniping, why aren't you playing Hela or Hawkeye or something, right? Yeah, she's susceptible to die more than the other ones. Her damage, she can't one-shot people unless she's got a Mantis damage boosting her or something like that. She's just very, very situational. Certain maps are so close quarters, her effectiveness goes down. Yeah, that's her. And then Scarlet, I like the new changes that they made in Season 1. She's more consistent. She's an anti-dive character quite a bit. She can really punish someone for diving and try and lock them down a bit. Really, chew through them. But the thing is like she can build ultimate really quickly, but her ultimate is just such a letdown. You shouldn't be using her ultimate to try and like kill people, because most people have figured it out by now, at least at any decent rank. It's very hard to kill someone unless you're combo with something else. But she forces them to react. She's a displacer. She's a disruptor. She makes it so, okay, I'm ulting. You either have to kill me, where you have to react to that and kill me, or you have to react to that and get the fuck out of the way. So she can clear space. She can enable your team to get around a corner. She can enable you to get a certain capture point or something. But it's so situational. You can climb with her. You can kill people with her. You can do good with her. But I think as you get to higher ranks, it just becomes more frustrating. And people just can handle her much better. So we'll see how it plays out. She might be a little bit higher. The new buffs, who knows, right? But anyway, I want to try and keep this video short. I have way too many long videos. So that's the basic rundown of it all. Let me know if you agree or not. I'll be streaming a lot of Season 1 on twitch.tv, Silva66. Stop on by, discuss the season, VOD review with me, play some games, whatever you want. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone enjoys Season 1. I think it's going to be amazing. I'll see you online. Take care.